it's going to be easy for me because I have a passion of talking about it, but I also know I have a gift of gab. So with that being said, I can't wait to see how you try to piece all this together. Uh, but, so we've been doing Mojo for a little over 2 years. I think it's close to 33 months for me, and it feels like yesterday. I mean, that's how bought in I am to the theories taught in Mojo. So it's definitely not a burden or a waste of time. I think it's an opportunity. Scott introduced, I think everybody on our team has went through the Dave Naylor program, but more importantly, he's kept it going for 2 years since then. So our team meets every 2 weeks now. Scott's incorporated like the back half of this meeting. Now that the new Mojo app is available, everybody takes turns of picking a topic in a podcast, and then they lead the half hour discussion. What are our discussions like on our team meetings? We have a small, intimate, really connected team. And I find it interesting because whatever the topic it is, they pick off the Mojo app, it almost parallels what they're personally experiencing that week. And it kind of gives them a remedy or a solution, or maybe a different way to view the challenges they're up against, whether it's professional or personal. And then when they get the team's viewpoint of like how they took away from it, I think people find a lot of solace. And then when it all comes together, I think they're in a better mind space to handle with that particular issue that they're dealing with, whether it's professional or personal. And I think that's one of the most important things about Mojo. It's not siloed. It's not just something that from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, you leave it at the office. This, if you really lean into it, can be life changing. And I think that's beautiful because even though you think you really know your coworkers and your friends and you do anything for them, it's interesting how those little pearls, how some people interpret them different than I interpret them. What sort of impact has Mojo had on our team? We're an important team of the organization, but we're very, very small. And I think it's made us more conclusive of it as a team. I think we care about each other, obviously professionally, but more importantly, personally. And we always start our company calls out more on a personal level, like, hey, how was your weekend? Or, hey, how was the kids' baseball game this weekend? And it's always made like that cohesiveness of our small team. And I think it has to do with, again, the tools that Mojo brings to the table is it allows you to not only talk to yourself internally in a different language, that then translates or gives you the tools to talk to your teammates in a different, and it's not always like me, me, me. It's like, hey, how are you doing? No, really, like, how are you doing? And is there anything I can do to help you? Once you buy into it, it's definitely life changing because I think it just changes the way the synapses work in your brain. And it just starts pulling these little pearls of wisdom that you picked up along the journey of Mojo and allows you to have the knowledge to handle different situations. And ultimately, I think, control the situation to the outcome that you actually want. So the impact Mojo has on our team is nothing but extraordinary. What is your favorite part of Mojo and what do I love most about it? I think Mojo challenges me every morning to be a better version of myself. Because again, this isn't a one and done type journey. It's something that you have the ability to kind of salt and pepper your day with those little snippets of podcasts on the app. If you're just trying to burn some windshield time from appointment A to appointment B, or you're just scrolling through and something caught your attention, you acquire enough of that knowledge and then it accumulates into real knowledge. And then and you wake up in the morning and all of a sudden you open your emails and it's nothing but bad news that people have been sending since Saturday. It allows you to just take that deep breath and say, okay, let's just chunk it down and just really de-escalate the situation. It is what it is, and let's see how we can navigate it. Mojo gives me the opportunity to recognize situations where I can have a positive impact to change the outcome for the better. And again, it's going back to just, it's not a one and done type journey. It's a constant evolution of learning. So that's the beauty of when you're in the Mojo system, it's very easy to go back to it on your phone and just get those little pearls whenever you need it, or search for something that you may be up against and see if there's a podcast on there that you can listen to before you're going into this meeting. And it's kind of like a cheat sheet of how to get your mind right in order to make the outcome positive for all parties involved. What would I say to leaders considering to offer Mojo to their people? I'd say embrace it. but embrace it to the level that it's just not an occurrence. It's actually part of the culture. And this is something we believe in. And if we all lean into this, there's no reason for us not to be successful. The cool thing about all of this, it compounds, grows on itself. So if you have everybody starting, and not everybody's going to pick it up at the same pace, and not everybody's going to get the same benefit from all the different podcasts, but if they get just a little bit out of it, and then the next podcast, they get a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Well, if you continuously as an organization keep doing that, and everybody's doing that within the organization, that's when cultures change. Embrace this as a journey and not as a speaker at a national sales meeting. Like, commit to it, measure it, make sure people are actually doing it. Have the roundtable discussions on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis, because I think you'll start to see it'll have an impact not only on their professional careers, but it'll probably make their personal lives better, which, obviously a happy employee is a more productive employee, which all that translates to a better customer experience. What were some of the misconceptions or hesitations I had about joining in the beginning? To be honest, I went in with no misconceptions or hesitations about adopting Mojo in my life. And it could have just been a timing thing, because it just had personal things going on, nothing tragic, just annoyances that was causing stress, some professional frustrations. So when I was able to get involved, it was almost like he was reading my mind, because all the topics that we would have to go through, it was almost in sync with an answer I needed for an issue or a problem that I was currently facing. So I may be the outlier where the stars and the moon and everything lined up for me, but I'm 100% in. And so if anybody was saying, "Oh, this sounds like a lot of commitment," I would say, listen, just go in there with an open mindset, because I think you'll be surprised how addictive it is, because it'll give you the tools to be able to start to figure out your own challenges that you're facing in life, whether it's family, professional, friends, whatever, because of how it's structured, how it's easy to digest, how it's laid out in simple terms. And more importantly, I think Joe does an amazing job telling stories, and he tells them in a way that you actually feel like you're right there, like you're visualizing it, like you're watching it on TV. I think that's when a lot of people would lean in, because it's not going to be over their head, and it's not cheesy, and it's not overly so complicated, because he doesn't try to make it overly complicated. Not to say that I don't still slip off, but I know how to bring myself back in fast due to the lessons that I'm learning through Mojo. One of the things that surprised me about this journey, I feel like I'm still on it. And to be honest, I don't think there's going to be an end. As you guys continuously create content, it's almost kind of like reading a series of books of your favorite author. It's just a perpetual learning. And because as you grow as a person, as your professional life career or your advance, you're always going to be faced with different challenges. And even if you guys didn't come out with any new materials and you just shut it down, but everything that you have presented to this date was still left available to those on that journey, I think you could rewatch and listen to all of those, and you could still find solutions to whatever you're up against years down the road. So for me, I don't think it's ever going to be a destination type journey. I think it's just going to always be something that you're chasing more of, because once you get a thirst for it, you're addicted. You just like, how can I handle this better? I think it's a lifestyle choice that you decide to live a Mojo lifestyle. But one thing that I think it does surprise me, it almost happens without you even realizing it. If you really lean into all of this, you do start to talk to yourself differently. What I mean by that is, if you're a person who lacks self-confidence for whatever reason, we all do, I think you'll be surprised how your confidence actually starts to rise, and you start talking to yourself differently. It's like, well, if that person can do that, why can't I do it? All this stems from having the Mojo minds be a part of your culture in a company. It just can't be a one and done. People have to kind of continuously be exposed to it, because once they start to be exposed to it, I think they'll realize it's actually like having an ace in their back pocket in whatever situation that they walk into. They're equipped to handle and probably equipped to change the outcome to whatever direction they need that outcome to be changed. My boss was on this call. What would I say to him or her about bringing Mojo into my life? Um, I mean, this is simplistic, but I'd say thank you because in my 23 years of being in sales, this is the first time that I've ever actually had a manager to invest in our team and me included on a journey as opposed to, hey, did you read that book from so and so from the national sales meeting? What'd you think about that? Again, it's an occurrence, it's not a journey. So I would say thank you because I think it's made me a better friend outside of work to my friends. I think it's made me a better colleague and a teammate, definitely to my coworkers. I'm going to go out on a limb and says it made me a better husband, but you would have to ask the wife about that. I'm sure she'd probably say on what day, but it just changes your mindset. And I'm not saying that to be cheesy. It kind of changes your brain chemistry to look for opportunities to extrapolate the positive or to impose positivity in a situation because it's so easy to take, I think, the low road or always focus on the negative. I've never heard someone ever say, I don't like to be around so and so person. They're too positive. But we've all heard we don't like to be around so and so person because they're too negative. And I think if you're sincerely positive, good things are going to happen in your life because people are going to naturally be drawn to you because you make them feel better about themselves. And you're not doing it to be fake. You're doing it because that's how your brain works now. You're constantly looking for the opportunities to make a difference. And I think that would be the summarization of Mojo. You're constantly looking for opportunities to make a positive impact on others. And if we do it long enough, cultures change. I believe if I was ever put in a position of leadership in our organization because of what Scott Welch has given me with this opportunity, I could hit the ground running. And if I had 68 people I was in charge of, I think it would be very easy for me to have 68 different conversations to match 68 different personalities. I don't think I would have been able to do that prior to Mojo.